was towards the beginning of school, and we were towards the playoffs, you know, championship like that. And I had started to feel like I was limping after my basketball games, and it was really weird. And, you know, we'd put ice on it, and I would take a pain reliever, and, you know, it'd be fine. But it kept doing this for about 2-3 more weeks.
He would play a game, and he would limp and be in pain. So we would go home and ice and do the normal protocol, and the next day he would be feeling better. And then he would have some type of physical activity again, and we'd be right back to square one. So there was a pattern that, again, we didn't identify at first. We thought he pulled something or did something on the court. But as the time went on, we were able to kind of assess and analyze that, you know what, there's a certain way that this is happening, and we just needed to get it checked out. We went to our family doctor, who then referred us to sports medicine. He did an x-ray. Of course, at that time, Zach was pretty disappointed, because at that point he said no sports activity at all. And he could see how disappointed Zach was. So he said, okay, well, we'll do very limited activity, and we'll see how you do. We went back, I took him to school, and not even an hour later, I got a call from their office, and they said, we'd really like you to see Dr. Ritzman. We're concerned that it's more than what we told you. At that point, I mean, I was a little bit nervous, because it seemed like things had just, you know, rapidly increased, and before we knew it, okay, this is probably a bigger problem than what we thought. His first response was just that it's very common, and it's the most common surgery that he performs, which kind of took me off guard because I'd never heard of it before. He was very reassuring with Zach that he's played sports, he's had injuries, that he would be able to play sports again, and that he would be fine. He explained it to us, where just the hip had pulled away from the growth plate, and it creates a space that they need to fix, so it's not, you know, we have further problems down the road. Because it can cause further problems and serious problems, he said, you know, I really like to do it in the next 24 hours. The person, I think she's, I think she's a psychologist that meets with us in the ER prior to the surgery, but just how she walked everything through with Zach and was very calming, even for myself.
They were really comforting and nice, and, you know, they just kind of said to me, you know, really calm, you're gonna go, this is gonna happen, and then you're gonna be in recovery for an hour. And then, you know, they walked me to the surgery room and let me pick my flavor of anesthesia, and it was really nice and comforting. They asked me what was my favorite type of food, and, you know, I said pancakes, and then they said, oh, do you like it with syrup and strawberries? And like that, I was out.
They pin the hip in place so that it's, pinned to the hip bone, and then the growth plate, I guess, grows around that and supports it.
I got out of recovery and was in my room, but they said if I was well enough to go walk the flight of stairs, I could have gone home that night. But, you know, I didn't really feel like it. You know, I tried to get up, but I just stayed overnight that night, but eventually could get out the next morning.
The recovery, anywhere from, they say, I'm trying to think, was it 4 months total or more? But he could, you know, do other activities and things like that within 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. He was on crutches for about 6 weeks.
If I play basketball, you know, outside shooting hoops, that's fine. You know, if I play a big game a couple, like, days later, that's fine. But if I'm playing, like, for, like, a week straight, maybe, like, games nonstop, you know, sometimes I start to, like, not, like, total limping, but, you know, start to feel pain, but it eventually goes away. You know, nothing like I'm limping constantly like I was.
He did say it would take time. I mean, and that running, and Zach has complained at times about not, I think that's past, but you were complaining that you couldn't run like you used to. I think partly because he wasn't used to it. He hasn't been running, so there is kind of a getting used to the whole running, jumping, shooting. We go back in 2 weeks. They always x-ray him each visit, and then they'll discuss, you know, how it's doing in terms of closure. And then I think they're really watching the other leg. One of the common things that happen with this surgery is that, not common, but one third will have the other leg. This will happen to the other leg. So they watch very closely just to make sure that his other leg is fine, that he's walking fine. I am thankful that he'll be able to do sports and resume normal activity. I mean, the sooner that he heals, the sooner we're into 100% and able to perform. And that's, you know, he was bummed that he missed basketball, but the flip side is he has a lot of opportunities to be able to play down the road.